So Greg and I were getting together to do this video, but it's expanded because the news just took on a life of its own. We were going to talk about one thing, but we want to start with Zelensky and where Zelensky was and how close he was to the front lines just today. Now, if you don't know our backgrounds, Greg has been in Ukraine for like 3 decades. I
Mhm.
came to this because of Zelensky saying, I need ammunition, not a ride. I went, What? And as a professor who created leadership programs, that really grabbed my attention because the whole world thought that Zelensky was going to flee. We're going to show you some of his guts today with what he did just today, and he did this again just last week going to Pacross. So, Greg, take this away. Show us where he was, and let's talk about this.
Well, he was in the most dangerous city, one of the most dangerous cities for civilians, and that is Kherson. If you look here on the web here, just this simple map, of course, Kherson, very, very, very large city, about 300,000 pre-war. It's just a beautiful city that's on the river, the gateway to Crimea. You can see the red down here. This is where the Russian forces have occupied, and it's just a few kilometers, guys. It's artillery, it's drones, it's multiple rocket launching systems nonstop. But the weather changed yesterday. Very foggy all along the river here, all along the southern front. That's why the Russians were coming into Pokrovsk. And now this is why Zelensky was able to come to Kherson today. And I've got some video for you of Kherson. One of the most important things that was unfolding today for him to be able to do that was the weather again. So when you see him, you're going to see very cloudy, very foggy. He actually makes his evening address right here at the sign, the very famous sign everybody's seen. He's standing
Mhm.
there. Guys, you go past that sign, which I've done many, many times. I stay in Kherson, and you come in, you go straight down the hill, and it's just a war zone. So I think we start first with Zelensky talking about Kherson on the third anniversary. Here we go. I wish you health. Today I'm in Kherson. It is already the third anniversary of the city's liberation from the Russians when the occupiers fled, and how the courage of our people made it happen. Now, Ukrainian flags return to the city, and I'm thankful for every one of our warriors who fought for Kherson and everyone who is defending this beautiful city now, defending the lives of our people. Today, I held a meeting here with everyone responsible for security. Our military was present, the unmanned systems, defensive forces, and we identified specifically the needs that Kherson is requiring. Thousands of Russian drones strike here every month. In fact, such a threat is constant that I have instructed our unmanned system forces, my Gerdes and other units to expand their defensive capabilities here. It is important to implement all of this. We have set tasks to ensure the protection and the logistics. Government officials will assist with this, and on Friday, I will hold a special meeting in regard to frontline cities, especially regarding energy sector and specifically equipment for Kherson and additional funding that is needed. No later than tomorrow, we need to have these decisions prepared by the government. The regional authorities have also submitted requests for Kherson for protection in terms of kindergarten support, education, and social needs. People here deserve greater support, and I am grateful to everyone who protects our Kherson. I mean, that's it. There's a lot in that little statement.
But
That
even the statement's not the statement. Marshall McLuhan said the medium is the message, and him standing there at that gate, danger close. Like I don't think Putin would even send a body double that close.
that's the number one message. No body armor,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
Okay. We don't even go into Kherson in our vehicles without body armor on now. And the
Mhm.
president of Ukraine was standing at the sign, and I trust me, everybody knows where that sign is if you've been
Yeah.
in Ukraine. So the weather plays a role into that. You could see the clouds, the fog, and it gets heavier as you go down to the river there. He's just a couple of kilometers away from being on the river. He's just a few kilometers away from Russian positions.
And that's
And
easily within FPV range.
yes,
Yeah.
way within FPV range.
Yeah.
And he's making a statement there. He's also letting the world know the value of Kherson, because on Russian media now, Russian military news, they're talking about wanting to come back for Kherson. They're pushing heavy again on the southern front. So what does he do? He goes straight there, stands in front of the sign, and he makes a video, and he talks about the importance of that city. But he doesn't stop there. He goes and visits a hospital,
Mhm.
talks with people who've been wounded. He goes to a kindergarten. I've translated that. I think that will be very encouraging for people to see. But before we show you that, let me take you right into Kherson. And he was talking about the flags, because today
Mhm.
is the 3rd anniversary, and this is what Kherson looks like.
Wow.
Little flags tied. You can see the strikes in the street, guys. All of that is
Mhm.
artillery strikes, government building completely leveled. One person there holding a flag. She asked, "Can I take a picture?" And she's a citizen of Ukraine, saying, "Kherson, it's all Ukraine."
Mm.
So what you can see from that is the weather, but there's very few people, and it's a destroyed city, but it's Ukraine. Um, with that said, school's still happening underground.
Yeah.
Zelensky goes and visits. Look at this. Hello. Welcome. Have a good day, everybody. How are you doing? We're good. What are you guys doing? What are you drawing? What exactly are you drawing? Oh, that's cool. Well done on your painting. So, you've been in Ukraine. Have you visited other cities? Yes, I've been to Amsterdam. Okay, nice to meet you. You guys have a good day. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't be shy. Let's shake hands. Hi, Sergey. Oh, be careful. This one's dangerous.
So one of a leader's chief jobs is to kind of set the people's eyes toward the vision, the mission to the organization, or in this case, the country. Like, hey, it'll be okay. I'm here. It's running up a flag up the flagpole so people know how to rally around it, and that's what he's doing here. And that's it takes a lot of physical courage to be doing what he's doing.
It's extremely dangerous, especially when you've had other rhetoric coming out from um, Americans, such as the former, what was he? He was the assistant to Colin Powell yesterday, coming out and saying, well, this guy's going to either be killed or eliminated by the end of 2025. Zelensky just heads down to Kherson, stands in front of the sign without body armor, and goes to kindergarten. I mean, this is the quality of the human being. And listen, Prof, you're a professor, you deal with students. You can see that his face is genuine there. He looks like a Sunday school teacher, or, just a kindergarten teacher. That was
Yeah.
genuine interaction. And that's the character of the man. And we don't see a lot of that character in global leadership around the world. So it's nice to see. Now, with that said, he's in a very dangerous area, and this weather, we're going to be watching the weather as we go forward.
Mhm.
I can tell you, first of all, let's talk about 3 last things. So that's Zelensky today. You guys have went inside Ukraine. The 3 other things we need to talk about is the power situation. Zelensky said in his statement he'll be
Good man.
talking and meeting about frontline cities, power management, all of those things. Guys, it's pretty critical. Let me show you this graph right here. And this is important to understand. So this is Khmelnytsky power. Yesterday, my buddy at my apartment in Khmelnytsky, Ukraine, and I don't mind saying Khmelnytsky. People get on me many times, say, don't tell them what city you live in. Why? I'm not going to give you my address, but people say they're in Kyiv all the time. Khmelnytsky's a big city. It's my city, and I'm proud of it. I love my city. But this is our power schedule now. Basically, you have different zones in the city, different hours of the day. Blue
Mhm.
means you do not have power. White means you do have power. And of course, it also says it is subject to change. The bottom line is you have 12 hours of power a day, approximately, and 12 hours of darkness. This is on top of, as we were discussing earlier, Prof, the weather has changed. You only have 8 or 9 hours of daylight now.
Yeah.
It's not like summer. And that's why even news is a little bit slower to trickle out, because you're not running 16 hours of daylight. You're running 8, 9, cold, fog, rain, snow. Everything has changed. But I want people to see this is the Khmelnytsky schedule. Okay?
Mhm.
And take a look here. This is where Khmelnytsky is. This is not Kryvyi Rih or Dnipro, Kremenchuk, Poltava,
Right.
Sumy, Kharkiv. This is way over here. The entire country, all of it, is on this type of power schedule. So it is critical right now that people understand that. And that's one of the things Zelensky was talking about. Could you imagine having to live like that? Just think about it for a moment.
Yeah, I can imagine it, but it seems like this would be pretty terrible, especially going into the winter and with the extra darkness. The only upside is the extra darkness should slow down military advances when you can't really function as rapidly as you might otherwise. But we'll see how that plays out over time.
What slows down military right now is fog,
Hmm.
not cloud cover. So when it's cloudy only, it's and it's higher clouds, drones can still run, and even there's a
Yeah.
higher possibility of missile strikes. But when the fog is there, it blinds everybody. Now,
Hmm.
speaking about the front lines, we need to pay attention to a couple of things here. Um, let's talk about Odessa first. Odessa is under constant attack, like Kherson, and today Odessans were given a reminder. If the air alarm goes off, that means you go to the shelter. So, if you guys do not know, when an air alarm goes off, it will go off and ring for about 5 minutes, and we've all heard that sound. Then the air alarm stops so people can function, but you're still under the air alarm until the all clear signal and air alarm goes off. So, it's you're going to see a video now where there's no air alarm going off, but the air alarm has already sounded. And that
Hmm.
means you're under air alarm. So this is the danger. This is video coming out of Odessa today and a Shahed drone flying. This is why it's important to obey the air command. That's a Shahed that is flying right through the center of Odessa.
Hmm. Wow. Halfway around the world, and that still just gives me chills.
Yeah, but you see it winding its way through.
Yeah.
So that drone is using some type of GPS AI. It's on a specific target run.
Hmm.
B, it's running some type of photo reconnaissance, which they do. And you can also see how low it is to the ground.
Hmm.
Um, and I know people are going to be putting in the comments, why don't they shoot that thing down? It's not that easy to do.
Hmm.
So this is the reality. Now, the last thing we need to talk about with this weather and this change is we do have a change coming on the southern front, which many people may look at and say, oh man, I don't want to hear about stuff like that. But for me, I do. I want Ukrainians to get better fortified positions to be able to defend and then push back. So we have video in from the Southern Command and their spokesperson talking
Mhm.
about this particular zone right here. Yesterday, I was talking about this area, and I'm watching Deep State on this because they typically are a couple of days behind on purpose. But,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen, this is the city, and it stretches down to here of Zaporizhia. I'm basically giving you the whole outline of it with Metro. It's massive. And you can see the Russian push here. And then they're also pushing up this gray line toward the city of Orikhiv, which I've spent a lot of time in. They're coming for that, but also big push here on this zone. And this
Yeah.
is what the Southern Command is talking about. Let's listen to him, and then we'll look at a couple last things on the map here. Here it is translated for you guys. A complex situation has developed in the southern front, particularly around Guliopol, Alexandrivka directions. Over the past few days, the enemy has conducted more than 100 combat missions there. These include assaults on our positions, and the enemy attempts to infiltrate deep into our defenses. Additionally, the enemy has increased artillery fire on our positions. They're launching 5 to 600 daily attacks using up to 2,000 rounds of ammunition.
Mm.
As a result of this bombardment, all positions and shelters and fortifications in some of our settlements were effectively destroyed or they've been damaged. Therefore, we have made the decision to withdraw our defense forces from some of these locations, including Uspenivka, Nova Uspenivka, Nova Mikolaivka. The enemy is also attempting to advance near Yablokova and Rivnopili and Solodke, where fierce battles for these settlements continue. The enemy also is bringing in reinforcement groups, but our defense forces are striking back, and we are preventing them from establishing these positions and the locations in the settlements. So I know it doesn't sound the best, but I'm happy to hear it, to be honest. You heard him speaking about towns like Uspenivka, Novo Uspenivka. He talked about Novo Mikolaivka. And as you can see here on Deep State, it's already covered red, but he's saying, we're out of there. And then the other little villages he was talking about where they're trying to push is scattered all along here. And of course, this is all on the outside of the fortress city of Guliopol, which is in this pocket. Guliopol would be a Ukrainian fortress that would be similar to like a Kurakova or an Avdiivka. These cities
Mhm.
about that size that Ukraine really reinforced. So yes, Russia really wants to come after this Guliopol area here and then push over to Orikhiv. And then once you have Orikhiv, you're on the main highway from this southeastern section coming straight into Zaporizhia. And of course, Zaporizhia is what they want. And I just want viewers to understand that this is close, guys. When I stay here in Zaporizhia, where we stay, I can be at this place right here in 20 minutes on a
Mm.
car. I've been all these places. Stepnogorsk, that is now under heavy. Kamyansky right here, that's now completely occupied. I spent a lot of time in Kamyansky. It's now Russian for now. But when we're talking about distance, just to understand, I'll do one measurement from Stepnogorsk to the very center of Zaporizhia, 30 kilometers.
Mm.
That's FPV drone range. No problem.
Yeah.
So this is a challenging area. They are pushing hard on this entire southern front. And then, of course, the story of continues to unfold. So that's where we're at. Weather changing, power changing, I think Zelensky said a lot in his statement today. And I think it was, if I recall correctly, he said on Friday he would be giving Frontline City update status. So,
It strikes me that as they withdrawing is a safer place, a better place to be able to defend, but it'll look bad. The optics will be horrible about, well, they took X number of square kilometers. Yes, but to be in a more defensible position as a trade off is going to be more helpful than trying to stick around where you can't really defend it. So
let's talk
that's
truth right
it's
now.
unfortunate.
I hope people come to your channel, my channel. They know we partnered together because we do our best to give truth. Here's the truth. How many Ukrainian soldiers are in the pocket of Pokrovsk? Listen to nobody. That's the answer.
It's too
Ukraine
hard to
knows.
tell.
Ukraine
Yeah,
knows. But they're not going to make it public, of course. How many Russians are actually inside Pokrovsk? You hear the number from 80 to 300 to thousands. Who really knows? People that aren't telling. So, is it better to just sacrifice everything here, for example, or to pull back to your reinforced lines that are strongly built, defend, and then be able to counter? It's logical. It doesn't
that's
feel good.
so that'll come in time, and we
Mhm,
don't know how much time. And when it does, that's good to understand. So what you want to do is you're trying to bleed the enemy as much as you
mhm.
can without then losing your own. Right. So it's like let's say you have money in the stock market, right? And this is not quite a great analogy, but like you're building and you're building and you're building and you're building. Well, at a certain point, you want to take that off the table rather than let something potentially come back down. And sticking around too long would be a bad thing. But trying to find that optimal time, that's a tough thing, and that's where they are right now. They're holding, as far as I can detect, but they may have to. I mean, tomorrow we could be singing a different song. So
It could
uh,
be.
we we just don't know.
I always encourage people to listen to Zelensky on all of these
Yep.
topics. And today he spoke volumes standing in front of the Hair Sown sign without even body armor on. And I mean, that's that's bold, very bold. Um,
That's very good. So yeah.
but in addition, he said, you know, we're going to be talking about the frontline cities, the energy. You're going to be getting updates on that. So there's a message in there. So day
Hmm.
by day, step by step. I think, last 20 minutes, guys, you've had a great look inside Ukraine today on November the 11th. I do want to give a shout out tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern. That will be November the 12th. I am doing a live interview with Sean Penner, who just put out a
Mm.
great article about Pokrovsk and the importance
Hmm.
of it. In addition, he was a prisoner of war captured by Russia. Got an incredible story. So if you on Prof's channel or my channel, set your alarm or catch it on demand later, it's going to be an incredible hour with Sean Penner. So
If you were on my channel, I went over that article just 2 or 3 days ago, just talking about like what does it really look like in Percross. So yeah, this will be a great interview. Please make sure you see it.
yep. And thank you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you for helping us to share truth, for standing with Ukraine. And we stand until victory. Razem do Peramoga. And that's it.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you for being the kind of people that care about Ukraine.
Blessings.